All right, welcome back. Exciting day today. The Ducati is done and out of the shop now, so time to move on to something else. New project going on here. I'm pretty excited about this one. It is a 1983 Yamaha XJ750. So already a bunch of work done to this bike, looking pretty good. The kind of bobber style that it has going, I love it. It's not the most perfect bike in the world, which is great. I'm actually building this. This is going to be my wife's first motorcycle, which is very exciting. There's a few issues with it, but nothing too crazy. The biggest issue is the exhaust. So the previous owner was riding down Richmond Street and hit a pothole and basically ripped off the from the collector and the tailpipes there. So that's the main issue there. But went on eBay, I got a new collector here, and these pipes, which are Conti knockoffs, they're the same pipes that are on the Ducati there. Those are original Contis though. These are the English knockoff version. So that's the exhaust there. I'm gonna do a nice wrap on the headers there because they're in a little bit rough shape. New exhaust studs, obviously oil change. I've got some new pods because these ones are in terrible shape and they're all broken. And then what else we got here? We got new fuse box, which everything that I've read about these bikes is that the number one thing that's gonna go electrically is the fuse box. So I got a new one of those. I've got a few different options for signal lights here. Just some Amazon specials, new flasher relay, because we're gonna be running LEDs. And the biggest thing, it's running a little bit rough. Well, the spark plug wires here are in terrible shape. I think it's like this one here. The end is off of it. They're all cracked up. When I had it running there, it wasn't really running great on 2 cylinders. So we got some Dyna coils, new spark plug wires, and then we're also gonna do the fork seals here, brake pads, and just some stuff, new license plate holder and some other little stuff. So that's kind of the overview of the bike. It's in great shape, it's running good, but it's just gotta get that, just gotta be updated a little bit. You can see, the forks are leaking pretty bad. Brake pads gotta be done. We're just gonna get this thing freshened up and on the road for the summer. Shouldn't take too long to get this thing going. So I'm gonna get into it. I'm probably gonna start with the electrical stuff. Replace the fuse box, get the signal lights on there. I need to, obviously the tail light was garbage. This is all the back end stuff. It was all hanging out all over the place here. So this guy here, so this and this, these are gonna be the pieces that go here. Right in there. Let me get this in there. Something like that. With this light sitting on it. A friend of mine, Nate, made this nice piece right here. Looks fantastic. I got some little brackets over there from the original signal lights that just come off for this, but this was designed to have this rubber piece here, which I'm going to take out. So this guy's a little bit too long, so I'm just going to cut it in half, and then in here I'll just put a little bit of silicone and some Loctite, and then I'm going to sitting right about there on the bike, so they're going to look really good, nice and tight. So I've already cut one of them down here, so see how that's a little bit shorter. So now I'm just going to fill it up with silicone and put a little bit of Loctite on it. All right, so these brackets are still a little bit wet, so I'm going to leave those to dry and get started on the front signal lights. So I'm just going to pop these old ones off and figure out if I want to use the same round style as the back or go with something like this instead. I'm not sure yet. I think the round ones are gonna look the best, but we'll see what happens. All right, so these signal lights here, I'm not the biggest fan of them up at the front of the bike, especially when, you know, you're riding the bike. That's going to be flashing right here, and I see that's going to be pretty annoying. Every time you go and turn, you're going to see it in your own face there. So I'm not going to use the disc ones on the front like I planned. I'm going to use some of these ones instead. They're black, and they're just going to disappear into the bike. I think they look great. So I'll have the round ones at the back and these nice ones here up at the front. They look pretty good. I like them. And they look pretty cool when they're lit up. So I'm going to get these ones installed and keep those ones for another project. All right, so I finished up with the signal lights at the back here, so they're all wired in correctly. So now what I need to do is get at the turn signal flasher relay, which is somewhere under the tank up here. I took a look online, and it does integrate into the auto canceling turn signal system. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to wire that all together, but I'll take the tank off. I got to take the tank off anyhow to do the coils. So take the tank off and see if I can figure out how to integrate the LED flasher relay into this bike. So I'm gonna get to it, and we'll see what happens. So interesting find on this bike. It already has the dyno coils installed on it, so I'll be able to sell the ones that I bought. I'm still gonna replace the spark plug cables because they they didn't do a great job of crimping them on here, and and I already have them, so I might as well change them. And some of them are a little bit old, it looks like, a little bit of cracking and everything. So, but that's good that they're already installed. That's one less thing that I have to do. All right, so there's a bit of confusion online about how to get LED flashers to work on this XJ750. So now this is the original flasher relay here, and it has an auto canceling feature inside of it. So it has a few different components that, you know, if you leave the signals on for longer than 10 seconds, or if you go a certain distance, it'll automatically turn them off. Now, I don't really care about the auto turning off function. So this is a solid state LED flasher, and 2-post, and you basically just plug it in the battery and the load side to where they would be on these ones here. So you can see the battery and the load, so you just position it the same way and plug the new one in. But the issue is that when the signal lights are turned on, it goes into sort of a hazard light mode, and that's because this is the indicator bulb. I just pulled it out of the dash here, so you can see it just faintly glowing. Now the issue is this bulb. So once you remove this bulb here, then the signal lights work properly. And that's because the power is going through the bulb, and it's connecting to both sides. So, and that works with the old style of flasher relay, but it doesn't work with these ones here. So what I'm going to have to find is basically, I forget what they're called exactly, because how this system works is there's only 2 wires that come up into here, and the polarization of this bulb actually flips when you're turning left versus when you're turning right. So if you just have a regular LED up in here, then it'll only turn on when you're turning one of the 2 directions, because an LED has to be positive and negative on the correct side of the diode. So I'm gonna look that up and basically just get that up into here, and then that will make the whole system work. I'll show you what I mean with an LED up in here. Okay, so I set up this little LED here, which is just kind of jammed into the plug, and you can see when I'm signaling left, the LED is flashing for representing the indicator light. But when I switch to the right signal, the LED stops flashing, and that's because the polarization of this bulb here switches back and forth when you're signaling left or right. So I know they exist. I'll do a little bit of research on something like that, but for now I'm gonna move on to something else and keep going with this bike. All right, so it is the next day here. I'm gonna put the signal lights on hold until I find the parts that I need for that. So now I'm gonna turn to the spark plug wires and the spark plugs. So I did buy this whole kit that comes with the new Dynatech coils, but this bike already has the Dyna coils installed, which is great. So really all I need to do is just make new spark plug wires. So it's basically just, you know, match the length, cut it down and crimp on the ends that come with the kit. It's not too bad as long as you're working carefully, and I'll show you the tools that you need to do it, and just go one at a time, working from right to left, doing each one. That way you don't mess up where it's connecting to on the coil. It's pretty easy. So I'm gonna get into that and then gap the spark plugs and install them. Unfortunately, they only gave me 3 spark plugs in this box, so I'm gonna have to go back and get the last one. So I'm gonna get into it and just take my time, and it's not gonna be that bad. This is such a weird kit. They the spark plug ends of both cables, and then you gotta cut it in half here for it. So I don't know, I just wasn't expecting that. It's pretty weird. Anyhow, I'm gonna get back to it. Spark plug cables are done, looking good. So now I'm just gonna throw the headlight back in because I'm done in here. Okay, so this guy here is the solution for the signal light issue, so that both sides don't come on when I'm signaling. So what this is called is a diode kit for metric bikes. Both of those wires, you wire into here, then to the bulb, and then this is basically the ground one, like that's the bulb. So these two are coming in here to the bulb, and then that's the ground. So you can see that here. Now the way diodes work is they let electricity flow through them one way, but they don't let it come back out the same way. So all I need to do is cut those 2 wires, wire this guy in, go to ground, boom, done with the signal light. So I'm gonna wire this in, get that indicator light working, and finalize these signal lights. Okay, so now turn the bike on, dash is all back together, and signal in the one direction. Got the signal lights working, and the other direction. Signal lights working, dash indicator working. So that's gonna be it for this episode. So thank you very much for watching. In the next one, I'm gonna get into probably change the oil, and then start doing the forks. Get the fork seal done and drain the forks and everything. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.